It is now 2025, and we are coming to the end of the year, going into 2026. And you want to be a hairstylist or a hairdresser, even a barber. Let's just say the hair industry in general. I am going to provide you everything that I've learned over the 30 years that I've been in the business, from working for major companies to having my own product line to starting a YouTube channel, everything in this video. This is going to be a long video, and I'm offering this to you for absolutely nothing. So, all I ask is subscribe to my channel, like the video, share the video, and this is going to be a fun, interesting video because things have changed over the years, right? When I first got into the salon industry, back in 1992, actually, no. Yeah, it was 1992. That's when I graduated high school. In 1992, okay, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And if you're watching this and you're in high school or you're younger and you're like, I don't know what I want to do, a lot of times, and you've probably heard this before, people say, oh, just become a barber, just become a hairstylist, oh yeah, that's the career path you choose if you're not sure what you want to do. It's like a last minute thing. Like, okay, fine. Well, I kind of did that based off of, I graduated high school. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I had a crush on a girl who worked at a hair salon down the street from where I had lived. Little did I know that, she was a lot older than I was. It was kind of a weird thing. I was like, I wanted to just meet her, and basically, like, that is what introduced me into the salon industry. It was so random, and I realized, like, okay, well, what do I do? I was a nightclub DJ. I was partying nonstop. My girlfriend at the time, like, it was just craziness, nonstop. Just having fun and partying, and I took that as a priority over my career. And once I learned that I could go to beauty school for this, because they were like, this is an actual career. Like, everybody in the salon has their license. They went to school for it. I'm like, I just graduated high school. I don't want to go to more school. Like, I'm done with school. They were like, no, you need a license. And I was like, okay. So I said, all right, I'm going to enroll in cosmetology school. Now, at the time, and I think it's still like that, if you are in high school, there's like a VOTech program where you can actually go and get your license for free. Since I had graduated high school, I actually paid for my tuition. And a lot of branded beauty schools like Paul Mitchell or whatever other schools are out there that are branded, they're very, very expensive. So that's the route that I went. Even though it was a VOTech school or vocational technical school, I actually had to pay a tuition. So I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, I'm paying for this and you're like getting this for free while you're working at ShopRite? I'm like, what the heck? So anyway, I decided to go to school. I'll never forget day one. I walk in. Now, I walked in late. At the time, I had my eyebrow pierced. I had blonde hair. I think I had like dreads, or I have no idea. But I was a raver, a club kid. I was all about partying and looking cool. And I walked into the room like 15 minutes late. And it was like, I think it was 100% women, girls. I was the only guy. I walk into a classroom of like 30-something girls, and just every head turned and looked. And I was like, oh my God, like, what the heck? This feels so weird. The teacher was like, are you Steven? I'm like, yes, I'm sorry I'm late. And I just was like soft-spoken back then. I sat down. Everyone was just staring at me because I looked so different. I used to say, people call me pretty boy. I had blonde hair, blue eyes, but I had my eyebrow pierced. I had my nose, I had earrings. It was crazy. I looked like a freak because no one ever saw that before. So I entered and I enrolled into cosmetology school. And at the time, I ended up working at that salon. So I was getting real world experience, having no idea about the salon industry or the business of it. And that's what introduced me to getting into the business. So again, I was choosing my partying and lifestyle over school. I didn't take it seriously until eventually I was like, okay, like somebody sat me down and go, look, this is a career. There's a lot of people in this career making good money. You need to take this very, very seriously and stop focusing so much on partying. So, make a long story short, well, this is going to be a very long story, but the whole video, I ended up going to a hair show. Now, if any of you have ever been to a hair show, you know it's just full of excitement. There's, brands everywhere and people on stage and music and rah, 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 going crazy. And it's like, it's literally insane. But I saw a guy on stage in a suit working on a model, and he had like all these beautiful blondes around him. I'm like, I want to be that guy, right? Like, I want to be like the dude in a suit with like beautiful blondes. And so I just was like in awe of like watching this guy. He's like talking and he was working for L'Oreal Professional at the time. And I just was like, this guy is like a king, man. Look at this guy. He's a god. I want to be just like this guy. So I was like, okay, that was it. That was my introduction to like, this is something I've never even seen that side of the industry before. Make a long story short, again, you'll probably hear that numerous times, is I saw this guy at like 2 or 3 more other shows or events or this and that. And I even so I went up to him. I said, look, man, I've seen, he's like, I've seen you, like, you go to a lot of shows. I was like, yeah, I'm in school. I go to a lot of shows and I want to do what you do, man. And he was like, well, like, are you working in a salon? I'm like, yeah. So there were prerequisites. He's like, you have to have at least 3 years salon experience. You have to be licensed in order to even be considered for this role, this being an educator for this company. I was like, oh man, I just got into school. I entered into the school. It's a 2-year program. So the 2-year program, I had just started. I was like 4 or 5 months in. The good thing is that I was working in a salon. So all that time was adding up to being part of the time served as far as being in the industry. I just didn't have the years in and my license yet. So he goes, you know what? Here's my card. Give me a call. His name is Timothy. I'll never forget Timothy. He ended up being my mentor. And this is now, we're going to start to get into some of the meat and potatoes of getting into the industry. This mentor, Timothy, he put me through living hell. And the reason he did that, and this is a really important takeaway from this whole thing, I was asking him, where do I work? Because now he was like, all right, I'm going to, let's get going on this. I'm going to mentor you. And, I told him where I was working, and he's like, let's find you a good place to work in, a better place. We got to start building, your experience and really getting you ready for this job position. And so find a new place to work in. I'm like, well, how do I find where do I go? This is absolutely insane. Like, I'm not lying about this. He goes, I want you to interview 75 salons, and I want you to rate them from a 1 to 5. And then you'll be able to help, find your place. I go, wait a minute, 75. I'm like, how's that even possible? And he's like, I want you to do it in like a month. Not less than a month, like 3 weeks he gave me. I'm like, 3 weeks? I'm like, how is that even possible? He goes, there's 25 salons within like a mile and a half of where you live. I was like, what? He goes, I don't care where you go, but interview 75 salons. I said, are you out of your mind? So, okay, mission accepted, and I literally went into 75 salons, ranging from rinky-dink little awful rundown salons in Jersey to the top-tier salons in Manhattan and New York City. And I was like, oh my gosh. What I was doing was actually just seeing what's out there. And there's a lot of people in the industry who've only worked in one salon for the last 15, 20 years, or 2 salons, Barbara's Color Den. Okay, you've been there for 15 years. Like, do you even know what's out there? I got such an opportunity to witness what goes on, and that alone was a massive learning experience for me. I couldn't believe what I saw in top salons and rundown salons and media. I was just like, wow, this is insane. So I was rating them from 1 to 5, and I learned a lot. And he goes, I want you to break down, like, out of those 75, go down to 5, and then 1. Pick your 1. So and I had to come up with a reason why. And that was my main mission, was to break those down from 75 to 5, then to 1. And so I sat down with him. I go, all right, Timothy, well, I've got my list. And he looked at all of them, and I rated them, and I had to kind of explain to him what was right about this one, what was bad about this one, good, all the stuff, just, break it down. He goes, all right, here's your top 5. He was like, yep, I know this place, yep. He knew all the places, because that's what he did. He went into salons all over the tri-state area and just taught salons. This guy's been in like hundreds and hundreds of salons. So I narrowed it down to the 1, and he goes, why did you choose this one? And it was a fairly local place. And I said, well, it's in a really nice area. And this is something I want you to really get a lot from this. 1, it's in a really nice area. So location is really, really important. It was in a very upscale town, a money town. It was old money, so it was a money town, okay? The next thing was, it was a nice salon. Like, it wasn't anything huge or massive, but it had a very comfortable, homey type of vibe. When you walked in, you felt like you were in like someone's like a living room in a nice house. Very comfortable. The aesthetic was nice. Nothing over the top, but I just liked how it was, like the energy and vibe when you walk in. They had an apprenticeship program. This is probably the most important thing if you are entering into the industry, you're just in beauty school, or you're thinking about this. They had an apprenticeship program. And I'll explain that. I'll break that down further into this video, but really important. And an apprenticeship program is when they bring you through like either a level system, and you start out at like a certain tier, certain type of pricing. You have hands-on training with someone, and you work your way up to where you're a stylist full-time. So they offered training. They offered, all these little perks and benefits that I was like, a lot of these other places didn't offer. And Timothy, he goes, yep, I know that place. Well, there it is. There's your place. I go, okay, perfect. So I started working at that place, and now I'm in the trenches. I went to a whole new type of salon. I'm in school, and I became an assistant. And this is what you're going to become if you are, in school and you're training and you're in the right type of place, okay? This is something called, now we're in the pay your dues phase of this whole video. You need to pay your dues, okay? Paying your dues is really essential to understanding who you are as a core person, who you are as a professional, your work ethic, all that stuff is part of this. And this is what makes you who you are in your career down the road. The apprenticeship program was where I would, now here's the thing, this is the catch, and this is really, really important. You go into this thinking that you're going to be, and some of the roles of an assistant are shampooing clients, sweeping hair off the floor, doing laundry, washing color bowls, changing coffee, like all that kind of stuff. And, cleaning toilets. You basically, and this is again when I did it, and I think this should still exist today, the way apprenticeship programs work, because it builds your character. It strengthens you up. And also part of that was training. What ends up happening, if you're not in the right salon, they will end up making you do more of the grunt work than the hands-on training. For example, you showed me how to do like a haircut like once last month. Like, we're in month 4 now. I haven't done anything. A lot of times they will con you or convince you to work for them because they need a body. They'll promise that you're in some apprenticeship program, and then they end up just using you as a body, and they end up being a real flaky type of place. Those exist. So just fair warning, those exist. However, there are the ones who do it properly, okay? And I'll talk about those as well. During my experience of this apprenticeship program and working at this salon, over time, a couple of months in, I started to notice personalities, and I started to notice like some slight bullying or degrading to an extent. And there were times where I went home literally like crying, or I felt like, how are they talking down to me like this? Like, I'll never forget, like, I got yelled at because there were crap stains in the toilet, or how come there's ashes in the ashtray, or look at these coffee stains in the coffee pot. Like, what is this? Go clean that up. I'm like, am I a janitor? Like, I'm trying to be here to be like a hair. And I just was like, this is ridiculous. And I would go and I'd complain to Timothy. I said, Timothy, they're making me clean toilets, and I got yelled at because there was crap stains in the toilet. Like, what the hell is this? Like, and he goes, that's part of it. Just, I know it's tough, but, just accept it and trust me, the end result will be worth it. I'm like, what, jumping off a bridge? Like, this is awful. So finally, at that same time, I started to do, and I think I even spoke to the owner. I'm like, look, I want to get more hands-on. They started to actually help me doing hands-on, giving me a couple clients here and there. And the one thing that really helped me was they noticed that I was really, really good with clients and my personality. And one of the owners, she said to me, she's like, Steven, people really like you. That's like a really strong suit that like people, once you cut their hair or once you share your time with them, they only want you. Like, we offer them a full salon of stylists, and they could choose anyone, but they want you. That's something that you really should be proud of, and that's not very common. And I was like, I didn't even know what that meant. Like, it felt nice. I'm like, oh, Rob wants an appointment with me. Rob, I cut his hair 3 times ago, and he wants to, like, I didn't really understand or comprehend that. But the customer service aspect was really, really important and crucial to, even to this day. Right? Even in my videos and the way I present myself, I learned a lot of that way early on in my career. So let's break down, while we're on this topic, the assistant experience, the training programs, the salon owners who con you and they BS you and promise you this and promise you that. Meanwhile, they just need bodies in their location. So when you are in school, there are different types of programs you can go in. A lot of them offer, I think it's like a 12-month or 13-month program that you're full-time. You're going to school 5 days a week from like 8 to 4, whatever it is, and that's all you're doing is going to school. The only way you can make money is doing hair on the side, if you even have time, or working at a salon at night. What I would suggest is doing that. What I did, and I don't know how it still is, if you can still go for like a 2-year program where you go part-time, like morning hours. So I went to school from like 8 to 12, and then from like 2 to 4, 2 to 5, or 2 to 6, whatever it was, I'd work in the salon. I suggest that route if you are willing to put the time in and be patient. Or if you want to have no life and really get through this a lot quicker, then go to school full-time, but when you get out of school at like, say, 4 o'clock, I mean, you only have a few hours to work in a salon because salons usually close at like 8 or 9. So you don't have much opportunity for learning. So you really, or maybe work, 1 day a week, a Saturday in a salon, or you work like, 2 nights a week, from like 6 to 8 or 6 to 9, and then all day Saturday. Like, you have choices, okay, when you're going into school. When it comes to school, just pick a cosmetology school that you like, that it's close by to you, whether it's a branded one, not branded. They offer financial aid. The thing about a branded school is that they're going to ingrain like that particular product and that system into you like very, very early on, right off the bat. If you go to just a faux tech school, it's really more about just passing the state board test, right? In all honesty. And there have been improvements over the years. Like, I was good friends with an instructor, and they really, really put a lot of time and energy into really training, and they had a really great program. But there are a lot of schools that they don't train you anything. Like, you'll graduate cosmetology school and have no idea how to do a men's haircut. It's absolutely insane that even happens, but it happens. And I've seen it a million times. So a lot of times it's getting the license. That's why it's crucial to get that hands-on experience. While you're going through that hands-on experience, you will come across other stylists, mainly senior stylists, not a lot, but you may come across a handful, 1 or 2 even, that have an attitude. They've got a huge ego. They're going to be very demeaning and degrading to you. They're going to treat you like you're just a peon. They're going to make you feel like you work for them. Do this, do that. And you're going to have owners who are real sketchy, real flaky. Like, you're going to experience it. My advice is it's okay to go through those things. After the 3 years, actually 2 years or so of me working for or going to school, working for these salons, I got to the point where I was like, Timothy, I can't take this anymore. And he put me in like, I think 4 or 5 different salons. Oh, go to this one. It's better. It's better. At one point, I had just graduated. I was like ready to give up. And I said to him, I said, Timothy, I can't take this anymore. Like, you're sending me to these places to work in. I don't like them. It's just I'm not going anywhere. I feel like this is leading to nothing. Like, you've been putting me this for a couple years now. I can't take this anymore. And he sat down and he goes, Steven, now you're ready. And I go, ready for what? I said, what? I was like, what? Why did you put me through all this? This is like, I have no motivation. He goes, this is the biggest takeaway. And still to this day, I live by this. He goes, now you know what not to do. And I was like, I was like, what? Like, I didn't even get it. I was so burnt out. I had no idea what he even meant. He goes, think about that. Now you know what not to do. All of those things you complained to me about, all those ways that those owners acted, those bully stylists acted, the this and that, all these things you complained about. Would you ever do them? I was like, no. Now you know what not to do. I had to see the worst of the worst to experience and know what the best meant. And I'm telling you right now, through a lot of my career, through a lot of building my brand, The Salon Guy, doing a lot of events, getting hired to do events, all these types of things, because I knew and learned what not to do, I would go into these events and literally see all of the negative things and realize and say to myself, boy, if I was doing this, I would never do that. And to this day, it's still, I look at brands certain ways, I look at this a certain way, and I look at how they're doing it. I'm like, boy, I would never do that. So a real key takeaway is you have to go through the worst of the worst sometimes to experience and understand what the best is, or at least good, at least good. So you are going to go through a phase in your career if you're just starting out, and I'm going to progressively build this up over time throughout this video. Once again, this is going to be, I'm doing this all in one take. There's no script. I'm just sharing all this information with you because it's coming from pure experience and from the heart. But I'm going to guide you through different phases of your career path. So you will end up washing hair. You will end up sweeping floors. You will end up washing color bowls, cleaning out toilets, whatever. If you don't go through that, then great. But in my experience, you have to go through a lot of those lows to appreciate, and especially if you're going to become a salon owner or a suite owner or any sort of owner of everything where you're the head honcho, you're the main person in command, you have to go through a lot of these things. And if you don't experience them, that's what's going to make things a lot more difficult. When it comes to being an assistant, the best advice I can give you is always be present. Always be visible. The amount of times as a stylist that I would get frustrated looking for assistance or having to go finding and going on the hunt for people to say, hey, like, where are you? Like, where's so-and-so? Meanwhile, they're in the back room on their phones. They're hidden somewhere gossiping. They're just sitting there, like 3 or 4 of them all just looking at each other. I'm like, there's a whole salon out there. What are you doing? Like, and then they get an attitude, get all ghetto with you. And it's just like, my best advice is do not become part of the problem, of the corruption, of, the negativity, the toxicity. Hairstylists are notorious for being very toxic, for being drama-filled, spreading rumors and gossiping and talking crap about this or that. I mean, I know it. I've been in the business 30-something years. I've been in hundreds of salons. I know how hairstylists can be, okay? Of course, doesn't mean you're a bad person, but that's just what happens. Do not be a part of that problem. Always be visible. Always be readily available. Always be there if you have to, if there's hair on the floor, so you can sweep the floor, so you can, not have somebody looking for you. You're there ready to wash a client. You're also going to get more tips. You're going to be noticed. You're going to move up more. You're going to shine. So always be noticed, offering a helping hand. Stay close and watch. Help people section hair. Get towels for them. Give them their brushes. Give them the blow dryer. Be as hands-on as you possibly can with the stylists who are really, really busy, and make sure you spread the wealth too. Don't just focus on like one person, but just really get as hands-on as you possibly can, and let the 4 people who are gossiping and creating drama and being toxic, let them stay in the back room on their phones or smoking or whatever it is they're doing. Let them be. Always be visible. No matter what you do, okay? Always be visible. Now, you will go through training periods. And if you are in a salon, like to say a great salon in Manhattan or California or Florida, any of these really, really, really top tier salons, Beverly Hills, who have really, really great salons, very successful, really, really good stylists who are doing, editorial work, they're doing fashion show, you need to really make sure that you're finding one of those places. Now, how do you find a good salon? Listen, go back to what I said. I interviewed 75 salons and rated them from 1 to 5. Do you have to do 75 salons? No. You do as many as you want. But I would say at least 5 to 10. And you need to rate them. You need to interview them. Not them interviewing you. You need to interview them. What do you offer? Any sort of benefits like medical? Do you have any 401k? Any type of what benefits do you offer? Do you pay for my education? Do you offer education? Do you have an assistant training program, a mentorship program? Do we get any sort of, commission on retail? Do we what are the incentive programs? What do you offer me? This is my career. So you need to interview them and ask them, why should I work for you? How are you going to benefit my career? Maybe talk to some of the senior stylists. Ask them what's going on. Say, hey, is there a lot of drama in this salon? Or, I'm new. Is this a good place? Have you worked here from the ground up? Did you go through the program? Look for case studies, successful case studies to where those salons have built those people up to where that stylist is booked nonstop. They have 1 or 2 assistants. They're just grinding. They're making over 6 figures. They're just grinding, and they are really, really successful. Those are the places you want to work in, okay? Again, how do you find them? Interview a bunch of salons. That's it. Interview them and give yourself, don't just go to any place, okay? Once you're in that environment, as I mentioned, be present, work, learn, educate yourself. And then the last part of this phase is, this is probably the best advice I can give you. Get as good as you possibly can, as soon as you possibly can, in any sort of skill set that you want to do. For example, if you love men's haircutting, and you're I love fades, I love men's haircutting, man, I take barbering classes, take haircutting classes, watch YouTube videos, practice on mannequin heads, spend a lot of time learning and getting as good as you possibly can. Where you're to the point where you just do insane work as early as possible, do that. Let's say color. Say you want to be a colorist. You don't want to cut hair. You don't want to do men's haircuts, whatever it is. You want to do just coloring. Okay, well, take color classes. Learn on YouTube. Take private, whatever you got to do. Learn. Women's haircutting or haircutting in general. Learn. Go and invest in yourself. Don't ever rely on the salon because a lot of times they fall short. Do ongoing, continuing education. I did that. I went to Vidal Sassoon in London. I've trained at Jacques Desage in New York City. I went above and beyond on my own, as well as taking other haircutting courses to get to the level of where I'm at with haircutting. I did that a lot on my own, on top of learning from, mentors and people throughout the years who have taught me things and doing competitions and just learning the craft of cutting hair, I did a lot of that and try to get as good as I possibly can. I wish I knew that earlier on, but I'll tell you, man, there was a period of time where I was really, really good at styling hair and doing haircuts, even though I still am, but I was like really, really, really passionate about it, And that's when I was seeing clients, right? So do whatever you want to do and learn as much as you possibly can about that as soon as you possibly can. Why? Well, when you are ready to go on the floor or you are going to be so good that you will have a line out the door for you. You will be busier than any other stylist. You will be, the big name in there. You will grow so quickly that other people will be like jealous. They're how are you getting so booked? What are you doing? They're either going to talk crap and hate on you, or they're going to be like, dude, you do insane work. Your work is gorgeous. And they're going to show you the respect. You're going to get both. Trust me. You're going to get both sides of the spectrum, the hate and the love, okay? Just know that right off the bat. Now, let's talk about the phases of, okay, you are now a hairstylist. You're working on the floor. You went through your level programs. When it comes to pricing, this kind of ties in from like the carryover from the finding the right salon to work in. You want to find a salon that has premium pricing, okay? Meaning $150 for a haircut, $200 for a haircut. You don't want to work in a salon where the max haircut as like the main stylist is charging $40 for a haircut. If that's the area you're in, then that's the area you're in. If that's the demographic, then fine. Whatever place charges the most money for whatever services, that's the place you want to work in, simply because you have the opportunity to make more money. When it comes to making more money, like I mentioned before, what are they offering you? So when it comes to commission rates, typically most salons, there's commission, there's salary. Commission is you get a cut of the work you do. Now, when I was doing it, 50% was the going rate, 50-50. The house gets 50, you get 50. The house doesn't even get 50 because they have all these expenses. So it's never just they're making all this money. Usually, from what I've heard, salon owners barely make 5 to 10% like profit, based off of all the work, all the expenses. But when it comes to you, 50%. I'm even hearing 60, 65%. 70% commission. I mean, I don't even know how that's even possible. But if you're a heavy hitter, then okay, I can see where like that could come in. But find a salon that has maybe a growth plan or something to where like, yeah, year 1, it's 50%. Year 2, it's like 55%. Year 3, it's 60%. And like a tiered system to where you are so busy and then you start to learn how to maximize your time. Because, right, what you're doing is you're offering time blocks. You're offering services like I'm doing extensions, I'm doing haircuts, I'm doing coloring. But when you think about it and you really want to be successful, look at making money as time blocks. You're selling pieces of time. So, for example, you do a color touch-up and you book 15 minutes for that. Well, that 15 minutes is you do a consultation and maybe you have an assistant that you've trained. They apply that color in 15 minutes. Then 15 minutes, you're on to somebody else. So you're charging for that block of time. And for that touch-up, let's just say it's $65, $75. Then you throw a glaze on for $35. You're up to $100 in 15 minutes. So times that by 4, $400. And then say you're getting 50%. That's $200 an hour plus tip. You're probably making $300 an hour. Your end. Like, that's insane. So if you do it, and there are stylists doing that, but think about blocks of time. If you're doing a haircut for $40 and you spend a half an hour, an hour for $40, and you're getting $20, maybe you're a $10. So you're making $30 for an hour. I mean, okay, that's cool. But think about blocks of time. How can you maximize those services? Now, when it comes to actually building a clientele, if you are doing it right and you are as skilled as you possibly can be in what you do, you will be busy. Notice how not once did I mention social media, taking courses, how to be a 6-figure hairdresser. None of that crap is important. Well, it's important, but none of it really matters if you are that good at what you do. I was always the type of stylist that said, give me one client and I'll turn that one client into 5 clients. And I always did it because of referrals. When I was doing this, social media didn't exist. So every new client that I got was either from like people walking in, referrals, me going out and saying, hey, hustling and trying to get business and going on the streets, giving out business cards, all that kind of stuff. And it literally was like me on the grind trying to get new clients. I never sat around. This is another thing. A lot of owners will promise you, oh, we'll get you busy, we'll feed you, and they give you like 1 new client a month. Meanwhile, the 6 other stylists are arguing, how come he got that person? How come I didn't get that person? I'm supposed to get the next walk-in. Blah, blah, all that crap happens. Don't even rely on that nonsense. Just try to rely on getting your own clients. Again, do your own education, get your own clients. Be as independent as you possibly can. If you're going to work in a salon, don't rely on them because you'll be sitting around waiting for a very long time. Unless it's a salon who really, really, really knows what they're doing and they follow through on their promises. Those are the rare ones, to be honest with you. So, after you start to get busy, you have to have that confidence. You have to have that understanding of how do you become that busy? How do you get referrals? How do you consult with people? What do you do? Like, there's a lot of those different things that you need to take into consideration, and that is where the communication part of this happens. Here I am behind the salon chair, and what I want to talk about right now is communication. The art of communication, the art of consulting, the art of just making sure that you're on the same page with the client is probably the most important part of being a hair professional. I have seen disastrous consultations to where the client and the stylist end up arguing. And it was the first time there where the client's like, well, I don't really feel comfortable. And the stylist's like, well, fine, I don't have to do your hair. Well, I don't like you have an attitude. Well, get out then. Like, I've seen literal disasters from consultations because the stylist, a lot of times it just gets so defensive right off the bat. Like, for example, if a client, and it goes both ways, the client can be an absolute whack job, the stylist can be a whack job. They either, they work well together or they don't work well together. But when it comes to consulting, you need to take control of the consultation. So I am going to just run through a consultation as if I had a client right here. So and this is, you don't just, send her to the sink, send her back to get washed. Like, what are they, a car going through a car wash? No. You have them sit down unless it's Tom who's been coming to you for like 8 years and he gets the same thing every time. Like, even that sometimes, have a seat. All right, let's talk. Everything good? All right, cool. Go ahead. Like, do a consultation, right? So the client sits down and I'm just going to do some like role playing. Now, this depends on if you know them or not, or you've just met them. So you say your formalities, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. How's everybody? All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at your hair, and I'm going to just give my own breakdown and analysis of what I'm seeing in your hair, and then I'm going to suggest something based off of what I'm experiencing. And what I'm doing at that same time is I'm actually running my fingers through the hair, and I'm feeling, and I'm looking, and I'm already dissecting the haircut while I'm saying that. So as I'm saying, what I'm going to do is I'm going to analyze your hair, and I'm literally just checking for unbalance, because remember, you only have a certain amount of time. You only have like 5 to 6 minutes, if anything, to have a consultation. They have to get their hair washed. You have to then comb it out. I mean, it takes time. So I'm analyzing their hair, and I'm checking for things that I'm going, oh boy, like this is way off. Or I'm already seeing things within 15 seconds that I'm like, okay, like I know exactly what's going on. And this comes from the practice. This comes from the experience of you getting as good as you possibly can early on. so that you can take on any job, right? Whether it's a hair color job, extensions, haircuts, fading, whatever it is. You can take on that job and you know exactly what to do right off the bat. So, all right, so basically what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing that your hair, the haircut itself is slightly unbalanced. So, this part in through here is uneven. It's not layered properly. This side's probably laying very differently compared to this side. It's a lot heavier here probably. You just don't have, it's hard for you to style. It doesn't look right. You're not, and they're like, yes, everything you're saying, yes. So you have a couple of options. What I suggest doing is really just balancing this shape so that when you style this at home, you have your hair looking the best it could possibly be. I like the length. I may just clean up the dead ends, maybe take a ½ inch off or an inch the most. I really want to clean up this layered shape here and just give it a lot more balance so that, it's easier to do at home. It looks better. The layers stand out more. You're getting more volume, and it just looks a lot better, and it's easier for you to style and maintain. How does that sound? Oh my gosh, yes, like 95% of the time when I would have someone walk into the chair, whether it was this one or salons I worked in, and this honestly, I got better and better over time. This wasn't something where initially, I was good at. However, I did learn a great consultation when it came to hair coloring a long time ago. And, well, while we're doing it, let's do it. So this was taught to me by Timothy when it comes to coloring. Is there anything you don't like about your hair? Okay, well, or is there anything you don't like about your color? Yeah, I don't like how it's, it's kind of dull, lifeless. It's just really plain and boring. Okay, if you had 3 options to do with your hair color, if you could talk, whisper, talk, or scream. What does that mean? Okay, whispering is kind of like the same level. The color is going to be not any lighter, not any darker. We're just kind of going to keep it on that same medium brown level, and we're just going to add a little bit of tone, maybe a slight auburn tone, or like a chocolate brown, or something maybe just a little warmth, just to really enhance it. But your color is going to whisper, meaning you're going to walk into a room and not many people are going to notice. It's going to be very, very soft. If you want to talk with your color, that's maybe 1 to 2 levels lighter. We're going to be adding a little more tone to it. It's something that, the color is going to talk. You're going to walk into a room and it's going to be noticeable, not really, really crazy, but people are going to say, oh, you've got a nice color. So whether that's going lighter 1 or 2 shades or going lighter and adding more tone to it, that's talking. Screaming is when you're you walk into the room and everybody sees, wow, look at that color. Wow, look at that blonde. Boy, look at his hair. Look at her hair. That is a gorgeous color. Real vibrant auburn. So you can whisper, talk, or scream. Okay, you have those 3 options. Where would you fall into that category? I mean, I learned that early on in my career, and I used to do that consultation all the time, and boy, it was a lifesaver. And they'd give me so when you're doing a consultation, you could take charge where you're suggesting what you think works best for them. Like I was about to say, 98% of people who came into me for a haircut were coming to me because their haircut was uneven, it was unbalanced, and it wasn't cut properly. Whether one side was, an 1.5 inches longer, or this side was really heavy, this side was butchered, or this side, it was all about balance and shape. That's it. And a lot of the time I spent patching up and just evening out and creating a balanced shape on haircuts. And they were coming from all over the place. I've had people fly in from Italy, from Canada, do road trips to come see me, from top salons in Manhattan that would come in. They'd take the train from Manhattan to come to me in Jersey. Most people in Jersey are taking trains to go in Manhattan to get their hair done. They were coming to me. And still to this day, I'm retired from clients, but still to this day, I literally get people asking me, Salon Guy, can you please cut my hair? I'll fly in. I'll fly you. I'll pay you $450, $500. I'll pay $1,000. I say no, because I do it once, and I always say, once you're with Steven, you won't be leaving, okay? So that's really what it comes down to. So I'm retired from clients, unfortunately. But the consultation, take charge, and then, get their hair washed and execute. The next thing is the execution of the haircut. You need to not only talk the talk, but you have to walk the walk. So you have to make sure that you can literally give them the haircut that you promised them. That's based off of, once again, the experience. That's based off of you being as good as you possibly can at layered haircuts. I like to call myself almost the layer king. I'm great at layering hair. And I would do very, I don't want to say commercial work, but very, very balanced, beautiful, structured work where the haircut speaks for itself. That's majority of the work that I did, especially as I got older, was that. And I'm going to sneeze in a second, so hold on. I'm waiting for the sneeze to come through. So, excuse me. I want to do this. I'm doing this all in nonstop for you folks, nonstop. So when it comes to taking control, make sure you can give them that haircut, give them that blow dry, talk about the products that you're using. There's all of those things play an important role. Now, here is the part of the consultation, or the experience, I should say, that is really, really crucial. Just like giving a speech, you've got the opening, the body, and the close. The opening is the consultation. The body of the haircut is the haircut, or whatever service you're doing. The closing is the final closing experience that you're not just, okay, we're done, and then they walk out. You have to really close that experience for them and really resell yourself. How do you do that? Well, after you're done, you take the cape off. Okay, wow, look at this. And you really, bring your head back. Okay, bring it forward. Oh my gosh, look at the layers. Look how beautiful. See how now it's nice and balanced. It's shaped. Look how beautiful this is. Look at these pieces. When I look at it, it's beautiful. You look gorgeous. I think you look a little too hot. Don't, be careful when the husband goes home. Like when you go home, the husband's going to jump you. I would always joke around and say stupid things, or, that's what made me known too, is I just was a goofball. Like I was fun and engaging and stuff. But you say, okay, especially if it's a new client, you could say, just to let you know, I do book up like way in advance. So if you do want another appointment, especially if it's color, if it's, I would book it your next one. I'd book 4 weeks out, or maybe book the next 2. If it was a haircut, you could say, I would honestly suggest like 12 weeks, 8 weeks or something for this, 12 weeks for a maintenance cut. Let's book it now. This way you have it, because now your hair is going to look good, and a good haircut will actually last longer, so you're not going to need it as often, but I do get booked up, and then that's it. So you have to resell yourself to let them know that you book up all the time. Get it while you can. That's going to help your rebooking. So a lot of this stuff that I'm talking about is really about building your clientele. This is kind of targeted towards people who are entering in the industry. But even if you're someone who's been doing this for 15 years, 20 years, and you're just, you're not getting the same clientele, you're not building up anymore, you're in a rut, this could be helpful for you too. Because I've trained people, and they've come to my studio, or I've been on site with them, and I'm like, wait a minute, you've been doing hair for 30, in my head, you've been doing hair for 35 years, and you can't even cut a one-length haircut properly. Or you're using the same verbiage from 1964. You have to get with it. So a lot of it is the hair professional. A lot of it is the individual. There are really, just like anything, there's really great people at this. There's really great people at that. There's really awful people at this and that. And I can say, in all honesty, the busiest people that I've seen in the salon industry, a.k.a. making the most money, but pre-social media, was literally the ones who were grinders, who can do a partial foil in 15 minutes and charge $110 for it, or do a blowout in 15 minutes, or do a haircut and a blowout in half an hour, and they're charging $100. Like, grinders. Now, was their work always spot on? But for some reason, the clients loved the experience. They loved it. They knew that this person was a heavy hitter. Those are the ones. I was never like that. I was like, no, I want to take my 45 minutes for a haircut. I want to take 1 hour. Yeah, she's done 4 people so far, and I'm still working on the one. Like, it just depends on your comfortability. But if you want to make a lot of money in the hair industry, just become a machine. literally a machine and get as good as you possibly can at whatever it is you're doing, and make sure that you can charge a premium price for what it is that you're doing, whether it's right off the bat or you grow into that. Now, the next part of this is going to be the part that I know a lot of you are seeing in the industry, a lot of you are experiencing this, and that is, where do you work? Do you become an owner of a salon? Do you open up a salon suite? This is now the phase of this video, and thank you if you've been watching this. Pause the video if you want to leave any comments below, if you want to share any stories with me, but I really, really want to connect with you all, right? But this is the part of the video where you have a few options. One, do you just work as a hairstylist in a salon and you build your career there, and you're happy making your $500 a week and whatever it is you're doing? Like, I think the average hairstylist makes, I think it's like $23,000, $24,000 a year. I have no idea. But like, there's a nationwide poll. Last time I checked, it was like in the 20s. That's like, yikes. But if you want to, expand from that, and you want to grow and you want to make more money and like get into like the 50s, 60s, 70s, 100,000, 200,000, whatever it is, you have to make sure that you're going to be working in a salon and committing the next number of years knowing that there's opportunities available for you. The next option is becoming a full-fledged salon owner, okay? Now, a salon owner, and I'm going to sit down because I'm doing this, like I said, I'm doing this all in one shot here, and this is something that is going to be, this is very, very, this is a lot right now. So let's talk about the actual salon owner part of this whole thing. Becoming a salon owner is a dream for a lot of people, okay? It's definitely a dream for a lot of people who they're tired of working for somebody, like I mentioned, what not to do. You've seen what not to do, and now you're like, I want to open up my own place. In my experience, there are a lot of opportunities for opening up a salon and being an owner. When it comes to location, it comes down to that. Find a great location that has parking, accessible, it's really important to find a place that you could get to and have clients get to really, really easily for staffing purposes, for, for clients, all that stuff. Parking, location, all that, first and foremost. And then the build out of the salon. There are a lot of companies out there who do build outs. They offer financing, they offer, loans and all sorts of stuff. You can easily have it financed, and that they walk you through the whole part, the permits, the this, the that. They do all of it for you, okay? There's a lot of people who do that. Now, the next thing is understanding what type of salon do you want, your salon culture. The culture is your belief system. It's how do you want to treat people? How do you want to treat your clients, your staff? What type of experience do you want your people to feel when they walk in? All right, do you want them to feel a more like artsy vibe, high energy, more chill or laid back? Like, what type of experience do you want them to feel? And how are you going to build someone's career? How are you going to hire people? What type of standards do you have? Like, how are you going to afford to pay someone? Like, all of these things are all super, super important. You have to be prepared for people to come and go. My thing is, if you offer all of this stuff from the ground level and give people growth opportunities and things to do that can really scale them and help them build a career while making you more successful, I'm telling you, if I don't even have a salon, I've been told by people that, if I started the TheSalonGuy chain of salons, forget it. I probably should do it. I would probably be very, very successful. Imagine that, TheSalonGuy salons. There it is. I mean, you see my logo, you're getting a good haircut. It would be like a takeover. So, and if you want to invest in me doing that, let me know. I'll talk to you about it. So the thing is understanding that your culture, your structure, all of that is really, 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 really crucial. Going through ups and downs, people calling out sick, people going on maternity leave, it comes with its perks, right? Drama, insurance. It's a headache, man. There's a lot of responsibility to it. And you have to realize, how can you make money? Are you going to be an owner who's actually seeing clients? Are you going to be an owner who's just kind of like overseeing something and kind of like not a dead salary, but like a salary to where you're just like the CEO and all you do is really just overview and you run the operation and you're visible all the time? Like, there's that level too. It all really depends on how you want to run your business. What area are you in? What demographic? How much can you charge? And in all honesty, I was charging $150 and up for a haircut, and where my studio is, it's not in a great area. People were flying in from all over the place to come see me. Celebrities, athletes, they'd come in from all over the place, even though this is in a crappy town. So the town matters, but no one ever complained about the price. So, if they did, they didn't want to come to me anyway, so fine. Charge what you're worth, okay? So then the next part of this is the salon suite. This is something that, even barbers are doing this, hairstylists are doing this. Where I think you can really, really shine with this and make a crap load of money and be very successful, this is all about building your own brand. And I think this is what's happening, is where, a lot of people are going that route because they want to deal with themselves. They want to hold themselves accountable. They want to build their own brand. They want to do things on their own time. This is the way to go if you want to be a very independent person. If you want to, start growing on social media, if you want to, go a very, very specific route to that, you become so busy and so maxed out, and you can charge whatever you want to charge, that the sky is the limit. I mean, you could charge $300 for a haircut and have a line out the door. You could charge $80 for a men's haircut as a barber and have a line out the door. And the way you go that route, this is the route that I'm kind of in now to an extent, because at one point when I stopped working at a salon, I had a really bad back injury and neck injury, and still to this day, like, I have herniated discs in my neck and my back. Not fun whatsoever. My range of motion is limited. My neck, I'm always having back pains. I never got the surgery, the fusion surgery. I didn't want to get it. But after I was recovering, I thought I wasn't even going to be able to do hair again. I already had this space that I'm in now as kind of my secondary location for filming and seeing private clients here and there. But I was like, I'm just going to stop working in a salon and work here, and just do clients here. And that's what I did. I started seeing clients independently, and then I built it from there. And that's when all the people were coming in, people flying in and seeing me on YouTube, and how do I find you? And I'd book appointments, and they didn't ask about the price. I told them right up this, it's whatever for $150 for a haircut, or okay, fine. They didn't even question. They came in, they got the Steven experience, and then, they either came back or they didn't. But the amount of people that would travel and go to the extremes just to get a haircut from me, literally working in Manhattan, taking a train at 5 p.m. in rush hour to come to New Jersey for a haircut for an hour, and then go back on the train another hour to get back there, and they're probably getting home at 7, 8 p.m. minimum. I mean, the things that people would do to come get an appointment with me proves that people will go to the extremes to get their haircut from you if they like you. So I think if you want to make a ton of money and you want to be very, very successful, you want to build a brand for yourself, going the independent route, aka salon suite, is the best way. When I was trying to build my brand while working in a salon, all I got was hate, jealousy, people talking crap about me, making fun of me, blah, 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 blah. And all that did was just either fuel me or make me depressed. So you're better off not dealing with the morons who couldn't even comprehend what you're trying to do and who are still working and doing the same things, that making the same money that they were making while they were making fun of you. They haven't grown a bit. So if you want to be in that environment, fine. But if you want to really scale yourself, then go the independent route, because no one is going to do for you what you can do for yourself. I really want you to understand that. No one can do for you what you can do for yourself. I learned that the hard way, and still to this day, I am 100% in on me. I've never had any investors. I'm not like, I don't have some hidden money guy who, I never mentioned, who's invested, hundreds of thousands of dollars in my product line. None of that. A lot of these people are a bunch of frauds because they don't ever mention, Tom Smith, who the retired guy from Wall Street who's sitting on, $10 million, who he has the money because he wants to put money into you. And meanwhile, if it wasn't for him, or, you're married to a guy who's a multimillionaire, and that allows you to sit there and stay home all day and create your quote unquote brand that would cost you all sorts of money. But if it wasn't for you being married to a guy with money, then you wouldn't even be in this position. I never had all that. So my suggestion is work from the ground up and build up what you can by being independent, because you are going to have the most exciting time. You're going to build stuff. You can start your own product line. You can create like an e-commerce store. You can, grow on social media. You can do maybe hair events, do some celebrities here and there. You have such an opportunity to grow and expand as a hair professional, being independent, than you can with anyone else. The other route is working in a salon, but also working for a company, aka being an educator. Now, I was an educator for two major companies, one L'Oreal Professional early on in my career, and the second one was Paul Mitchell. Now, you're not going to make huge money doing that unless you become like a brand spokesperson or an artistic director, or you become like, technically under their corporate program where you're like the main person. Then you probably make some decent money. But you have to be, sleeping, breathing, eating that culture 24/7, using their products exclusively, knowing the brand, speaking the verbiage, buying into the cult, whatever it is. Like, you have to literally become that brand, you yourself. What that does for you, however, is it gives you a lot of opportunities. It puts you in environments with people who are very, very skilled, very qualified, incredible at speaking, incredible at presenting themselves. And a lot of what I learned being able to present the way I do was from being able to work with those huge companies and learning a lot about the art of presenting. I was 21 years old representing L'Oreal Professional. Like, I was able to go in and speak the verbiage and be the brand, so to speak. If you want to go that route, you're going to learn a lot. You're going to become very, very talented. You're going to get some great education. You're going to travel. You're going to have fun with people, be on platforms, doing hair shows. Everyone's like, oh, look at, there's Steven. Oh my God, Steven, he's with the Salon. Oh my God, the Salon guy. He's with Paul Mitchell, whatever. You're going to get that recognition. It's a really feel-good thing. It is a lot of work, but it's fun. It's a great experience with great people. And if you want to go that route, that's also the option. So, the hair industry has a lot of opportunities to thrive in, to be successful in. If you are the person who is struggling, I've been a hairstylist for 6 years now. I graduated 6 years ago, and, I'm not building my clientele. I'm not, getting any new clients, no referrals. I hate to say, but maybe you just are not good at cutting hair. You probably think you are. You think you're a great colorist. You think you're a great updo stylist, whatever it is. You're probably mediocre at best. And I'm just being completely honest. It's like going to a restaurant, saying you're the best chef in the world. Just watch Kitchen Nightmares with Gordon Ramsay. People think they're the best chefs in the world, and their food's awful. It happens all the time. If you go into a top salon, let's just say 8 out of 10 people will be really good. If you go to a mediocre, your normal, average, run-of-the-mill salon, one person out of 10 will be really good. The other's mediocre, more awful. I've seen it. They may be good at certain types of jobs, certain types of styles. Okay, maybe you're great at doing roller sets on 86-year-olds. Okay, fine, that's what you specialize in. What are you charging? $86 for a roller set? No, you're charging like $15. So you become good at whatever it is you're doing and take my advice. Learn and get as good as you possibly can in the skill set that you're doing as early as possible, as early as humanly possible. Get good at hair cutting, get good at coloring, long hair, whatever it is, and then find the right salon to work in. What do they have to offer you? Why should you invest your career with them? I suggest working in a salon for a couple of years, whether it's good or bad, to learn how they do their business, get some experience, and then potentially open up your own suite. Or what you do, or open up your own salon, whatever it is, whatever route you want to go. But you need to just learn what not to do. You need to learn what to do. And if you're going to go the independent route right from the get-go, you need to just focus on doing as many clients as you possibly can and get as good as you possibly can so that when you get your license, because you have to pay for this. You have to pay for the salon suite somehow. You build maybe a small clientele, and then you open up your own place, even though salon owners hate that because they spend all this time investing in you, and then you get this clientele of $2,000 a week, $3,000 a week, and then you leave, and then the owner hates you, and you create this disaster, and you pull all the clients with you, and you're gone, and now the salon owner's losing. That's usually typically what happens. But if you work part-time in a place, then maybe what you can do, or work whatever you got to do hair on the side, but you need money to open up a suite. So make sure that when you are ready to take on that investment, that you have some funding that you can support yourself, because you may not be busy right off the bat. You may be sitting there getting one client a week, and you're like, I have to pay $300 a week or $700 a week to have this place, and I did one client in the whole month. Be realistic about it. And then just realize that there are a lot of opportunities and paths for you in the salon industry as a hair professional. A lot of things can come from this. You have, the sky's the limit. You have your own destiny. You can choose where you want to work. You can choose what path you want to go in. Do you want to be an owner? You want to be independent stylist? You want whatever it is you want to do. It's all there for you. Now, I mentioned to you earlier that I'm doing this this is all free. There's no catch, no gimmicks. All I ask is that you share your experience with me in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel, like the video, share it. This is a behemoth of a video. This was a big job. This is a corrective color job who wants extensions, who wants a haircut with a double process. That's what this job is, okay? This was a monster video, and this was all done in one take. I have been talking nonstop for I don't even know how long this is, and I just want to give you all some sort of value. I want to speak from the heart. I want to speak from my experience, and I really, really hope that you engage with me if you're in the industry. If you're a new stylist, if you're an experienced stylist, if you're a salon owner, a suite owner, please share your comments below, because that's what I thrive off of. You are then becoming a client of mine just by leaving a comment. So I want to engage with you and share that experience. Thank you all so much for watching this video. This was a lot, but I'm really passionate about this, and I hope I inspired and helped someone. And if you want to see more salon industry type videos like this, let me know. Have a blessed day. Stay positive. Be strong, and choose your career path, because you have a lot of opportunities. God bless. Stay strong. I'll see you soon.